Happy spring. I know some people have snow, but hopefully spring is coming soon. Great to see you. And today we are going to excitedly hear from Mississippi State University. Very excited for this presentation. So I will not delay it. I will pass it to Matt Bogosian for some updates.
Thank you. That is the one, the only Michelle Burris from the Century Foundation, who you can hear on your next workout or walk or wherever you listen to your podcasts. She's on the Manufacturing in American Century podcast interview that came up just recently. So Michelle Burris at the Century Foundation. What a great story you have personally, and the work that you and your colleagues do at the Century Foundation. It's great to have you as a BFF. So thanks for that, and everybody check it out. Good morning. It's our normal time every week at this time across the country, our national AMCC call of regional leaders and BFFs from federal agencies, NGOs, private players, all trying to strengthen the American project from the bottom up for American manufacturing. Please put your, as you can see, people are doing it, put your name and affiliation in the chat. And you can see who's on there, connect with them, add things to the chat, like right now, it's like, hey, we got some cool things happening in our neck of the wood, so we can have multiple things going on at the same time. These short, efficient Monday national calls, they're free, open source, then they go hand in hand, of course, with the AMCC update email that goes out. And if you're not dialed into that, just put a note in the chat with your email, and David will grab that. David Van Sickman, our operations director, he'll grab that and make sure you get the AMCC update, which is jam-packed with all kinds of stuff. I'm going to hit a few highlights of that in a minute. And so we bounce back and forth. We use that AMCC update as a tool to inform what we talk about here on this call. And what we talk about here on this call informs what goes in the AMCC update. It's also a platform for you all to put out your information. So if you have cool things that you want, that you think are important for this national community of practice of regional leaders and BFFs, that ought to be in the AMCC update and shared broadly, send that to me and David, and then we can look at putting that in the AMCC update at a certain point. So there's that. Today we're excited, like Michelle said, we're excited to talk with some folks that we met down in Mississippi on our roadshow there, thanks to Courtney Taylor, who was great in setting up AMCC's roadshow in Mississippi. We'll hear about how a university is adding value in the manufacturing workforce robotics challenge area. So that's going to be cool. Talking about, in part, wearable technologies that improve human movement and health assessments, and a lot more. Which gets at two items, before we turn to the AMCC update kind of highlights, I just want to emphasize, so we've met these folks we're gonna talk to today at Mississippi State on the AMCC roadshow down there, and we have, fortunately, I see Buckley there, in Wisconsin. These in-person visits is kind of it's a best practice that fits in with these Zoom calls, which are great, of course, because as AMCC and the network has shown, having these consistent weekly calls, very short, very efficient, keeps us together, helps everybody keep an eye on the big picture as you work in your own neck of the woods to strengthen your manufacturing ecosystem. So it's a mix of both, right? The in-person and the virtual is obviously a best practice that people are operating. And so that's an important takeaway, and an important thing for these AMCC roadshows. And want to say thanks to our partners in Louisiana. Looks like we're going to be heading down to Louisiana in May, so we're locking that in the week of May 20th. But I'm sure you're doing that in your own neck of the woods, finding the right mix of virtual and in-person gatherings, as you get the depth, much more depth, of course, in the in-person gatherings, and that's what we learned and meeting these folks here from Mississippi State's research group on sports technologies. And which is the second thing I wanted to say at the outset, our guest is Carver Middleton from Mississippi State. I'll introduce him in a minute for his overview of what they've done there. But it's sports is a unique cultural opportunity for us to bring folks together, especially on the workforce front. We talk a lot on these calls, and we did in Wisconsin and our roadshow, before that in Alabama and everywhere, really, around how do we get to kitchen tables and with parents and students to get into 21st century manufacturing. So showcasing where all of these intersect in the world of sports is a outstanding opportunity to move farther, faster in the American project. I was lucky enough a decade ago to work very closely with something called the Green Sports Alliance, which for sports teams, NFL, Major League Baseball, all bringing kind of smarter best practices together around sports with fans and teams. It really moved the needle, and still does move the needle. I'll drop a link to the Green Sports Alliance, or you can just Google it. But that's an example of something that's pretty cool. I think in our manufacturing world, finding those spots that are going to help us get to more and more kitchen tables with parents and teachers is a great opportunity. So before let's see, I introduce Carver. Let me say. Let me go to the AMCC update and hit a few highlights there. Of course, kind of one of the big pieces of news, and we have to all be in the game on this, is there's a new Manufacturing USA Institute being conceived for artificial intelligence, and so. There's a notice of intent about what the plans are for that new Manufacturing USA Institute. I think it's the 18th one that we have around particular technologies. So check that out. Give us your feedback. Huge implications for everything that we're doing. I mean, this is the fourth industrial revolution, and this could be the biggest accelerant yet. So thanks for your input there. I think AMCC needs to build a view and provide input on this. So just want to emphasize that. Also emphasizing, our partnership with the National Governors Association. So the webinar that we co-created is available. So thanks for sharing that widely and giving us, your take going forward on other kind of co-created projects and webinars that we could do with the National Governors Association. I want to say thanks again to Sally Rude for our partnership there. I talked about the podcast, of course, with Michelle Burris, so check that out. We talked about road shows too. There's just a laundry list of federal opportunities listed in the AMCC update, and some really provocative, insightful articles that we curate. Thank you, David Van Sicklen. And the Industries Association, the Industry Studies Association, Andrew Reamer, for all the weekly help in putting all of that together. A lot of work happens there, and don't ever want to neglect thanking the folks that put that all together. So those are a few updates. And so now I want to turn to Carver Middleton, who is at the Mississippi State. We had a great experience, like I was telling you, down there. Carver is a research engineer there, and have a fabulous a visit thanks to Courtney Taylor, the executive director of Mississippi's Accelerate Mississippi office. Is a workforce office where they're doing workforce across the state, and this is one of our stops where we saw Mississippi State partnering with FANUC and with a whole slew of initiatives that we thought would be of interest to manufacturing communities across the country. So Carver, welcome to AMCC, and and let's hear some best practices that you can share.
Sure thing. Yeah, thank you so much, Matt, for the introduction. I've got a presentation for us, so I'm gonna go ahead and share that real quick. So just let me know, maybe give me the thumbs up when y'all can see my screen. I'm getting thumbs up, so looks like we're all good here. Let me move this over real quick. Yeah, thank you again for hosting us on behalf of Mississippi State University. Just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to some of our initiatives that are going on. I know Matt mentioned athlete engineering and some of the things that we're doing with wearable technology. So a lot of that was using wearable technology in the sports context and applying that into an industrial environment. And so one of the things about that is that we realized is some tasks need to be automated. So when we're using performance technology or wearable technology to track individuals over the course of a shift, we learned that sometimes, maybe there are certain tasks that do need to be automated. And so what has spun out of athlete engineering and other initiatives here at Mississippi State University is our AiM Up initiative. And so what AiM Up is the Advancements in Manufacturing Upskilling Program, which is essentially a workforce development, training and education program in the advanced manufacturing sector. And again, part of this, and the thing that I really wanted to focus on for today's discussion, is the tagline that we've adopted: operate independently, compete collectively. And you'll learn more about that kind of as we go through and talk about our strategic partnerships that have been formed through this initiative. So the motivation for this is probably one that you've seen prevalent in your own communities, right? There's a talent shortage across our nation, not only in the manufacturing sector, but other sectors as well. And kind of some of the things that attribute to that is that our industry is growing and people are moving out of the workforce. We know our baby boomer generation is kind of moving out and retiring, and so we're having to replace those individuals. But not only is it due to those factors of growth and people moving out and just having less of a population as a whole, but we also know that our industry is changing, right? We mentioned the new initiatives for an advanced manufacturing center with the AI implementation. So we know that our technologies that are being incorporated in automation technologies are creating new jobs that individuals need to be upskilled and reskilled on, right? And so part of this, we know that we have to address these new challenges that are coming our way. And so there's actually this figure does a really good job of kind of representing some of those challenges that we see. So within the manufacturing sector, it does a good job of highlighting kind of where those apprenticeship programs are located throughout our nation. And we can see those programs being located kind of in the Midwest and Northeast, kind of where you would expect those. But what about some of the other regions of our state, right? Here in Mississippi, we have a shortage of available programs to get people into our advanced manufacturing industries. And so as an academic institution, we knew that we needed to do something about this and figure out how we could contribute in order to solve this problem, right? And so what we've done is we started working with our state workforce development agency, Accelerate Mississippi, as Matt was telling you, on building strong partnerships within our industry across the state. Right, we've got some really good manufacturing leaders that a lot of people don't know about, and we want to be able to equip them with the resources that they need to allow them to grow and also attract new industry to our state. And to accomplish this, we've invited representatives from these different companies to serve on advisory boards and committees and communicate their workforce development and training needs. And all this is kind of routed through our workforce leader, Accelerate Mississippi. So all the feedback that we've kind of gathered from these discussions and from these advisory board committees have been gathered and condensed into this executive summary highlighting our mission and vision for the program. So our mission is really to develop the workforce for Mississippi that's happy, healthy, and highly effective, right? And so you've seen some of the different industries that are part of our state, from aerospace to defense and the automotive sectors. And we've got some really great elements, but many people aren't really aware of all the resources that are offered. We often hear that we're kind of the best kept secret, or there's some really cool elements that we didn't know about. Many people don't know that Mississippi is a top 10 state in manufacturing. And so our goal is not only to equip our workforce with the skills needed for advanced manufacturing and Industry 4.0, but also to kind of redefine that narrative for Mississippi, establishing ourselves as an early and obvious choice for companies looking to come to our location or a home, have a home location, as we like to say, to increase our state as a manufacturing leader and grow our economies, right? And so Mississippi State University has actually rolled out a new strategic plan. And some of these elements will be available in the fall, but I want to focus on the applied experiences, right? So when we talk about an academic institution, our goal is to educate. And part of that, we can kind of get caught up in the theory side of things, but action comes from applied experiences. And so Mississippi State is deploying what they're calling emphasis opportunities to undergraduate students, which is equivalent to a certification at the graduate level. Kind of think of it as like a continued education credit. These are non-curricular experiences out of the classroom. And so for our AIM Up initiative, our plan is to allow students to be exposed to hands-on learning opportunities for advanced manufacturing right here at Mississippi State and through our other initiatives. But the thing is that ideas are one thing, visions are another. We know that what really creates change is action, right? And so since late 2020, early 2020, or 2022, early 2023, we brought in over 17 million to kind of fund some of these initiatives. And I think we've even surpassed 20 million. And so right about a year, we've secured these resources to drive some of our initiatives. And again, really the conversation and the topic for this presentation is highlighting those strategic partnerships in order to grow our workforce. And so I mentioned earlier, we adopted the tagline, operate independently, compete collectively. And so what this funding has allowed us to do is pull together some of our strongest programs for workforce development under one united front. And you'll see all the different entities that have joined in to push this initiative forward. And our tagline kind of highlighting that and driving us. We like to say that we stay in our lanes, but we compete together. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to accomplish the same thing, right? By having an impact at each level of serving the industry. Because we know that not everyone is going to go to university or college. And so we need to make sure we have touch points at each of these levels in order to serve our industry. We want all of our students to have the same opportunities to equip themselves with valuable skill sets. And so my role here within the Athlete Engineering Institute has been to engage our community college partners. So that's not typically something that you hear very often, is the university working with the community colleges or even working with high schools in our district. So we've really tried to break down those barriers because again, we're trying to serve the same goal at the end of the day, right? And so through these partnerships with our community colleges at East Mississippi, Northeast Mississippi, and Mississippi Gulf Coast community colleges, we've been able to create training programs or training labs across our state to service our industry. The ultimate goal is that our industry within the state has training resources on their manufacturing technologies that are no more than 2 hours away from their locations there. A lot of the feedback that we got from the industry, at least initially, was that, you know, they want to implement some of these advanced manufacturing training technology. They want to implement these things, but, you know, flying up to Michigan to get training on FANUC products is not feasible for all of them, right? And so if we have those training resources right here in Mississippi, that creates those opportunities for our industry. And again, through these current partnerships, we've kind of been able to cover the north and central and southern regions of the state, and we're looking to expand those initiatives as well. So I won't harp on it too much, the specific technologies, but this is really driven by what the industry was looking for. We adopted a phased approach with this because we knew that we'd probably have more success building something from the ground up if we asked for 1 million 20 times than 20 million all at once with no track record of development in this domain. And we feel like that pursuit right there has attributed to our rapid growth as a program, and we were able to accelerate much quicker. So you'll see some of the advanced manufacturing technology. Some of you may be familiar with collaborative robots, autonomous mobile robots. the Connected Smart Manufacturing Assembly Line. That's a FANUC, APT, and Rockwell Automation collaborative offering there. And it really does simulate that full assembly line. So you see the CNC on the left and different robotic stations. So what we're able to showcase with that is really mimicking what an assembly line would look like in a manufacturing environment. And so our goal with all these technologies is to mimic a real production environment for our students, not only at the community college, but even at the university, to give them those hands-on learning experiences through our program, as well as create hybrid learning environments. You see the education area is directly in the lab with all the advanced equipment. So you're getting that balance of theory and also hands-on training experience as well. So through our program, we're mainly focused on training and education. So I mentioned those emphasis workshops earlier through the university where our undergraduate students will get hands-on experience outside of the classroom. We'll also offer certifications for our industry, equipping them with recognized credentials. There's multiple degree pathways, again, through our partnerships with our community colleges, through mechatronics and automation programs, as well as here at Mississippi State in our engineering programs through mechanical and industrial and systems. And then we also educate through showcase opportunities, through technology demos. We always say you can't just kind of go down to Walmart and shop down the robotics aisle. And so having resources and facilities for our industry to come in and experience these technologies just creates more buy-in and more opportunity for them to implement these advanced manufacturing technologies. Again, through our network with equipment consultation services, we're able to recommend what technologies would be best for them. And then other outreach activities, including K through 12 education and general exposure into these pathways, creating awareness and community awareness for these different programs and pathways. So I mentioned our partnerships. Partnerships have really been the driving factor of this. I mean, it couldn't be at the point of where it's at without our partnerships. And one of those is our partnership with the Advanced Composites Institute. So you'll see here, so ACI has been really involved in our K through 12 outreach opportunity, creating stackable learning experiences for the STEM concepts and, involved with advanced composite materials. So some really good opportunities getting into elementary, middle school, high school, and exposing these kids to these technologies. So they've done a really great job in offering that to these different student groups. Our second major partnership.
Hey, Carver, maybe it's a good place to stop, not stop, but just ask the question. Tony Neary from SME had a question in the chat about, are you conducting any summer camps for middle school and high school students? Because you were on that right there, and I thought it'd be a good time to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have multiple summer camps again, and they kind of range in application here. So most of these were actual summer camps and partnerships with our local school districts. I want to say between Oktibbeha County, Clay County, different counties within our region, they were able to engage, hundreds and thousands of students. So really good opportunities. We do a lot of things in the summer at the community college level with our career coaches and our career technical instructors. We actually are planning out a session for this summer where they'll come in our AiM Up lab and get hands-on exposure to these equipment. Because our message with that is, if you can get a career technical instructor or a career coach, if you can teach them how to program it, they can go and tell their kids and students within their programs that they can too. I think the advanced manufacturing or the manufacturing environment in general can be intimidating to some people. You walk into certain labs and you see all this technology and it's pretty intimidating, but some of these newer systems really are intuitive. I mean, I mentioned the cobots earlier compared to your traditional industrial robot. I mean, you're programming the thing on an iPad, right? And that's a message that we can communicate to students is that they're familiar with these technologies and they really can pick it up and learn how to use it in a matter of 5 minutes. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, a little bit from Alan Baker in Virginia. He asked, from that, are there like on-ramps to apprenticeships? How does that work?
Yeah, so what we're trying to establish currently through this initiative is that full talent pipeline, right? So I mentioned that we engage at each level. And so starting at the high school level, you're really able to engage those students with what career opportunities that they want to pursue. And so our first one is at Noxubee County Career Technical Center. And there's a local industry that's come into the area. They're currently doing a plant startup. And so we've approached them on how we can create a pipeline of students, right? And so since this program is involved with high schools and community colleges and even the university, we can establish that pipeline. And so when we talk about the education piece of this, we're incorporating elements into the high school that prepares them for any experiences at the community college and at the university level. And with that, we're incorporating internship programs. And so they'll be able to be exposed to the concepts at a high school level and then go on to the community college level, get their education paid for, which is, I mean, that alone is life-changing for some of these individuals, and then get hands-on experience on the job training while they're getting their education. So that's a model that's worked well in the past, and we piloted it through some of our programs. AMCC does a really good job with that in their mechatronics program with the local industry. But again, that's a really good way to engage and create that pathway, is establishing those internships at the community college level. So hopefully that answers your questions. But yes, that's one of our pursuits, and I think that's a really effective way at engaging people, equipping them with the skills, and then relating because I feel like sometimes the theory side of education can be tricky, but if you're getting the hands-on side of it through an internship, you're able to apply all of that knowledge that you learn in the classroom in a real world environment. And just
hey, Carver, there's a question from Hewat from the Department of Defense about challenges or best practices about underserved communities. Like, how does this apply to underserved communities?
Yeah, so with underserved communities, they may not have pathways to formal education or higher education, right? And if you have a group of students that can participate in these internships programs, I mean, that is life-changing. One benefit of Mississippi community colleges, and it may be the case for other regions as well, is they have certain programs that target underserved communities. So I know like our WIOA services are part of some of our initiatives is engaging those underserved, underrepresented communities. And even the one I mentioned, Noxubee, that's an underserved community, and we're trying to establish a program that would upskill and upskill the current workforce to be able to source that industry that's coming into the region with Huber Engineered Woods.
Yeah, there's a question that came in from Susie Teal at the ARM Institute for your email. So I took the liberty of putting your email in the chat. I hope folks can feel free to contact you, Carver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's great to have you part of the AMCC family, and appreciate. Do you want to close out here with anything?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I guess I've run through my time real quick.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Yeah, just super thankful for everybody for having us. Again, there's more initiatives that I'll kind of click through here with our CABZ and our mechanical engineering, and then with the community here. And all that kind of fueled these larger discussions for collaborating with our manufacturers, right? So we reached out to, we actually had FANUC America engage with us on conducting these education programs. And so through this bigger initiative, we've attracted engagement from those manufacturing entities, and so that's kind of fueled a lot of our pursuits. So it begins with the education, but you build the programs up and establish those, and you get attraction from those big name manufacturers, and so they've been a big part in fueling our discussions too. But again, yeah, thank you so much for having me, and appreciate being here. Please reach out for any information that you have, or if you just want to set up a call to discuss. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, and much appreciated, Carver. We'll make those slides available, of course, on our website, where we have presentations. We record all of these Mondays, so you can Monday calls, so you can just share those links. That's an easy way to to share the benefit of what Carver just ran through in terms of what they're doing down in Mississippi State. It really resonates with so much of the good hard work that these and other stakeholders have done around the country, Carver, figuring out how people can get in their lanes, right, and work together and not undermine each other. So thank you again. We keep this at 30 minutes. Michelle, I'll turn it to you so we can close out. Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Carver. That was really awesome to see all the work you're doing in Mississippi. Everyone, we look forward to seeing you at the same time next week. Thanks so much and have a wonderful week.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.